Good morning, everyone. It is Vlogmas Day 12. I'm so tired. I got 4.5 hours of sleep last night. I'm actually really pleased with how yesterday's vlog came out, considering I suppose I should get up. Amanda's not having it. Alright. I've been putting this off for 5 years. This, dear audience, is the box of Christmas-related items that I received through my sister from my parents. There's a lot of stuff in here that I have not seen in 5 years, and I've come to a point where it's time to decide whether or not I'm going to keep this stuff and actually use it every year or throw it away. I considered other options. I considered donating them or giving them away to people, and ultimately decided not to do that because I needed final closure one way or the other. And my therapist agreed with that, so I feel like I'm on the right track. This is going to be really hard. Let's do it on camera. Alright, so actually the first thing in here is not from my parents, or at least I don't think it is. At some point somebody, and someone will have to forgive me for not remembering who, someone bought me and Amanda matching Christmas balls for our tree. This one has my dead name on it, and that's gonna have to go. Last Christmas, I was using a different name. Obviously, I was using Mia. I wasn't sure exactly where I was gonna land on my gender and name and everything, but now Mia is my legal name, and I'm pretty committed to it, actually. So, this has gotta go. This is a stuffed creche. It's basically a nativity scene. There's a bunch of shepherds and sheep and stuff, and of course baby Jesus and all that. The idea is that you prop these up. You know, they have a little flap in the back. Usually what we ended up having to do in my family was stuff tissues in here because they were white and they would be cheap and easy and whatever, and they would stay firm enough to actually stand up. They're really cute, they're really childish, you know. Mary looking very much like someone who has not just given birth. Cal, of course. And last but certainly not least, baby Jesus. I often imagined doing this with my kids someday. It's super convenient too. It's got like a flap that velcros down and a handle so you can like carry it like a lunchbox. It's cute. I always loved this so much. My parents also had a really fancy like wood and metal one that was like the real one, and this was for the kids. I certainly don't plan to put this up in my house. I'd sooner buy my own. And frankly, stuff like this tends to get gross, especially after it's been sitting in a storage unit for 5 years. I'm frankly surprised, after this thing being in our basement for like 20 years and then a storage unit, that it's holding up even remotely as well as it actually is. But since I have no intention to use it, and since I'm trying to not literally carry physical, tangible, emotional baggage through my life, I think this is gonna have to get thrown out. This is hard. I did love this so much. Thank you. This giant Santa. Beard flips up because it's fake. It's not the real Santa. We used to have a rocking chair in the living room in my parents' house that we would keep this Santa in all winter. Actually, he got some oil on him once when my dad and I were building a model engine partially together. I actually completed my own several years later. There's a video on my channel. I look like a boy in it, don't be alarmed. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do think that I would feel not super great having this in my life for all eternity. So I think this is gonna go as well. Thank you, Santa. Oh wow, this has been through some Yeah, my storage unit was not kind to this. There's some pieces over here. This, even though it doesn't look like much, with all the arms and wings ripped off of it, is my mother's favorite Christmas item, as far as I know. It plays music, but I don't know when it's going to stop, so I'm not going to wind it up right now. You know what, this is all about making me feel pain, so let's do it. Alright, so apparently it's... So it plays Silent Night. It used to have angel wings, but I never saw them attached to it because they were long gone by the time I was involved. That, or I think she ultimately blamed me because I think I probably knocked it off the windowsill at some point because I was a child. You know, it has a little harp that it holds in one arm that fell off years ago. Yeah, see, it goes like that. Alright, now how do I make this stop? It also spins around while it's doing its thing. It's really slow though, so you're not going to see much. It's so much creepier when it's like playing slower than it's supposed to. I like literally feel like I'm in a horror movie right now. The final option I considered was violent destruction. That feels wrong. I don't think that would be particularly cathartic for me. And plus, honestly, this one has been through a kind of violent history in life. I can't help but think, my mother being a narcissist, that her giving me her favorite thing is a way of saying, you're my favorite thing and I love you, in a really like attacking sort of way. Those of you who have experience dealing with narcissists know exactly what I'm talking about, where it's like, look how much value I place on you. I gave you the thing that's most important to me. So for that reason, and for the fact that it is so beaten up and so beyond repair at this point, it's been glued together more times than I care to count, this is definitely going to get thrown away. Just like how my parents threw me away. Tigger, with a bell and some Christmas presents. My parents always used to call me a Tigger. I was always bouncing off the walls. I don't think I want to keep this. I love Winnie the Pooh. I always will. I actually bid on a German copy of the DVDs a few years ago and paid way too much money for it on eBay. Anyway, I love Winnie the Pooh. I don't particularly love this ornament, and I don't particularly love that it was in my "Screw You, Child" box from my parents. So that's that. You know, I could sell this stuff, I could give it to someone who would truly love it, but I just want that closure. I don't want it out in the universe anymore. I just want to know that it's gone from my life and will never return. Yeah, I don't really know what this is or why my parents thought I loved it so much, but they definitely thought I was into this. I think it goes back to an art project that I made with my mother once, and that's actually, now that I think about it, probably in here, where we made from a clothespin toy soldier. And I think this was meant to replace that because it got messed up because it was a, you know, craft project. I was never in band. I didn't play the flute. I don't really have an emotional connection to this other than how long it's been in my life, and I've always been confused by it being in my life, so thank you. Well, the tag on Christmas morning that has my dead name on it is still on here. But it's basically a Santa ornament with him checking his list, but the weird thing is that it's not actually a list of names, it's a list of to-do things. There's like schedule mall appearances and read children's letters and stuff, and that's kind of weird. I don't even remember receiving that, so very little emotional attachment, so that's going away. This is not mine. This is my sister's, although it wouldn't surprise me if she tried to dump off some of the stuff she doesn't like on me. It looks like she might have made this in like art class or something, but it is most definitely not mine. It's got googly eyes. I actually have a box of stuff that belongs to my sister that my parents thought belonged to me that I'm probably going to end up putting this in. I haven't dealt with that yet because some part of me still holds out hope that I'm going to have contact with my sister again someday after our parents are dead. Unlike my parents, where I'm happy to start closing those bonds and moving on in my life without them because they do not accept me for who I am or love me. My sister, I believe, loves me, and I feel like this would be really hurtful to her if I threw it away. So I'm going to hold on to it and put it in the box with her stuff. Interestingly, this is in the same category. This is actually one of my sister's favorite ornaments. That's really a tragedy. This is a Hoops and Yo-Yo, I don't know if you're familiar, laptop that says a bunch of like laptop related Hoops and Yo-Yo jokes. This absolutely does need to go back to my sister at some point, so this is going in the same pile/box as the other stuff. Ironically, while filming the video about how my parents hate that I'm trans and transitioning, it's time to take my meds. I actually joked with a friend of mine recently that I would send the spent vials of estrogen to their house anonymously, just as a subtle little nudge to remind them that no matter how much they don't approve of me or my transition, it's happening. But that would cost money and create new levels of contact and arguably be harassment, so not gonna happen. Well, this polar bear is holding a snowboard that says, "Son, you're too cool." Not your son. Christmas trivia card game. Easiest decision of the night. This looks like a box containing multiple items. Yep. My third Christmas, more Winnie the Pooh stuff. This, interestingly, does not seem to have a way to hang it, so I guess that's broken. A Friendly Christmas Greeting, 1992. Friendship, 'tis the season to be jolly. Well, my parents are definitely not my friends. And it's kind of a weird thing to get for a 2-year-old child. I'm not even sure that's mine. It's a cat. It's not even like Winnie the Pooh or anything, so easy no. This is literally a candy container. This is meant to be garbage on the day of, but apparently it's something my parents felt that I needed to keep for 5 years. And probably for the rest of my life, and I don't agree. Oh, this looks old. Metropolitan Museum of Art. A bell that says Baby's First Christmas, and it's got a picture of, presumably, what looks like a baby boy. I am not. So, you know, it's hard with the gendered stuff because, like, I understand a parent's desire to imagine what their child's future would be like and be happy that their child is what they think they are and all that. But the problem is that sometimes visual evidence does not correctly predict a person's gender. I feel like if you're going to be one of those parents that's like super into like son this and son that, you also need to be the kind of parent that is like very accepting when your son turns out to be your daughter. And my parents are very much not in that camp, so goodbye. As far as me being their baby, yeah, they gave birth to me, but they lost their child the day they beat the crap out of me and rejected me. So, bye. This is the candy cane troll ornament. Trolls were a thing when I was a kid. But not a thing I was super into, so. I don't know why my mother thinks I'm like so obsessed with like soldiers and nutcrackers and stuff. Apparently this is mine, or at least it was. This, again, I think is my sister's. It's from 2002 and it looks like an art class crafts project, so pretty sure this is not mine. I'm gonna save that for her. This is a woven Christmas wreath that has seen much better days and honestly doesn't look like it was well made at all. This strikes me as the sort of thing my grandmother would make for me, but I have no memory of it, so. Now this one actually is one of my art projects. It's got my dead name on it, so pretty sure this is going away. 1999, this is what I was capable of producing. It's cute, but it's gotta go. It's got my dead name on it. I don't have to scrape it off, and it's like metallic glue paint on like felt that'll never come off. So, plus I'm terrified of dogs. I don't like dogs very much. I need to work on that. Again, with the nutcrackers, I don't like these. I don't know why my mother thinks I like these. Oh, another candy thing that should have been thrown out on Christmas Day that apparently my parents think I'd like to put up around my house. The absolute funniest part to me about this is that I hated M&Ms for years and years and years and years and years. I like them now, but for years I hated M&Ms and they always got me M&Ms for Christmas just for these, and I'm like, this is a gift for you, not for me. So it's garbage. Alright, this is another thing with my dead name on it, but it is a toy soldier bear. I think I might remember now why my parents were so into the whole like toy soldier thing. I played a toy soldier in one of my Christmas plays, but I put on a Christmas play at my elementary school every year. It wasn't that important. I don't feel a connection to this really, especially with my dead name on it. These are the trees that my mother would set up around the house. They're glass, and she'd put candy out in them. This one is broken, so obviously that is gonna go. Otherwise, kind of cute. I might have kept that. This is a religious item. I guess I needed to go back to God, according to my family. You know, it's Mary and Joseph praying over baby Jesus, and I guess I'm supposed to take away from this that my parents are praying for me and that they love me and that I'll always be their son. That's where you're wrong. I was always your daughter. And regardless of gender, you beat the crap out of me, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm not your child. I gotta be careful, there's a bunch of broken glass at the bottom of this now. This is a very old metallic train. This is one of those things you have to fold up and use like tweezers on. It's one of those things that my mother got for me because I was like super into trains and stuff. But it's one of those like, I didn't make this. There's no way a 3-year-old made this, you know? But I loved it as a kid. I don't know. I don't really feel an attachment to it though. Like, it's been a very long time. Plus it's very rusty. It's clearly not meant to be durable for the rest of your life, so
that's the end of that. This Death Star looking thing was made from some kit. I don't know. It's not something I made. I guess it's for me to throw out. Although that does explain where the pin in there came from. One mystery solved, not the mystery of why my parents don't love me and accept me, but hey, mystery solved. Alright, this is a stocking ornament that says sun, which I am not, so useless. I do actually feel kind of bad for my dad because he does not have a male heir and he can't, but what can I do? That's not my fault. I was barely involved in my creation. Baby's second Christmas. Yep. I was once a baby. Shocking. You know, I was 2. It's been in my life my whole life, but I don't see any particular need to carry it through for the rest of my life. So, at least it's not gendered. Alright, so we've got the 5th Christmas. It's a koala bear. Much cuter. Yeah, this is more my parents' accomplishment than mine. Actually, around 4 or 5 is when I first told my parents I was a girl, and that didn't go so well. For more details, see my coming out video. Pooh and Piglet? I almost wonder if this is my sister's. 96. No, it had to be me. Honestly, I don't remember this at all, so I don't really feel an attachment to it, and I don't particularly want to hang it on my tree. So, goodbye. Another Tigger. This time he's holding a Jack-in-the-Box with a Tigger inside of it, which is kind of adorable. I love Tigger so much. It's kind of cute. But unfortunately, it does have to go. I just don't feel much of a positive attachment to it, so away it goes. I'm realizing how much of this sort of parallels with the Marie Kondo method, you know? If it doesn't spark joy, it goes in the garbage. Alright, this is Tigger helping Pooh put the star on the tree that apparently is somewhere else in this ornament, off camera. I didn't quite get Tigger's face right. That's not quite Tigger's eyes. But yeah, that's going in the garbage pile. Baby's 4th Christmas, which is a panda. Yep, same reason as the others. Again, thankfully not gendered. Mercifully not gendered. Oh god. Oh, there's a photo in this one. So this is from 2002, which means that at the time I was 12 years old. So if you're curious what 12-year-old Mia looked like, be in for a shock here, I looked like a boy. This is it. It's my school uniform too. 12 years old. 12 years old. It's kind of wild. I think my hair has grown quite a bit since then, among other things. This, I think, was the cat's stocking. The cat died, so the stocking is garbage and I don't know why I have it. When we were putting down that cat, the vet was trying to comfort us. She was like, he was a good boy. And I was like, no he wasn't. He was an a-hole. I tend to joke at funerals. It's not great helping grieving people by making them laugh. I feel like we tend to look on the recently deceased with rose-colored glasses. I feel like we try to make them out to be the best person in the world, and I'm like, nah, sometimes people are jerks that die. I don't know, I have weird stuff around death. Oh, I'm surprised. I actually still have the toy soldier ornament that I made when I was a child. I had to have been like 4 when I did this. Look at the face. It's so dweeby. I love it. This has obviously seen better days. It's missing pieces. The clothespin is cracked, so it's like totally separated. Instead of looking like, you know, fancy or like an ornament, it looks like he's trying to hang himself. Oh, well, this was fun to make with my mother when I was a child, but it's time for it to go. So, thank you. More candy things that are supposed to be thrown out the day of, Mom. Again, M&Ms. I didn't like M&Ms at the time. I do now, but, you know, whatever. This I made. It was meant to be some sort of wreath. They let us make whatever, so I made this. You know, not bad for like a 7-year-old. I don't know, it's kind of fun. But it reminds me a lot of things I don't want to think about, so... Now this is an actual M&M ornament that looks like it was on top of an M&M tube at some point. At least they tried that time. I have no memory of this, so... Pikachu, with my dead name written on the back by me in 1999. It's actually a really cute ornament, but It's time for it to go. Anything with my dead name is going. Got a couple of Snoopies. This one's carrying a tree with Woodstock in it. It's got like a hunter hat kind of thing. Yeah, I don't mind losing this. My dad was always the one that was much more into Snoopy and Peanuts than I was, and I love them, but in a very different way, and he really loved Snoopy. I think he just wanted a dog. Honestly, my fear of dogs probably wouldn't exist if I had been exposed to dogs, but my mother was very against dogs, and so we didn't have dogs. This is a very, very old and horrifying looking Winnie the Pooh. It's quite old and it's covered in my dead cat's hair, so that face is just horrifying. This thing has been through a lot. It is no longer the correct color or anything. It's gotta go. It's probably a biohazard. Oh, this was my favorite little Santa. I love him, he's so round. I used to put this on my windowsill every year. Yeah. I wish I didn't have negative feelings about this and associated with negative memories and things, because I really loved this. But I don't think I can have it without it hurting me, so there it goes. So we come to the big box that's in the box. These are my Winnie the Pooh ornament lights. Let me explain. So they light up inside, and they're Winnie the Pooh characters. They're like super squishy. They're like a squishy plastic. We had trouble keeping the lights in here because they've like had some weird particular light in here, and I remember changing all the lights in my parents' house. That is one Christmas task that I retain. Oh god, it's from Caldor. That store doesn't even exist anymore. Yeah, these are cute, but I have a lot of really negative memories with them. I have a hard time doing the lights. I still do it because I'm still the best at it, and it actually is kind of calming to me. It's like the same reason I like untangling necklaces. It's sort of a tedious thing that actually has a tangible accomplishment at the end. But it is hard to forget the screaming and the beatings and the, general abuse that's centered around that. So I don't think I want any Christmas lights from my parents, thank you very much. It's a very thin gold foil looking bear with a stocking. It's got my family's name printed on the bottom of it, etched into the metal. The metal itself is tarnished, so that's gotta go. A bunch of people ask me when I changed my name why I didn't also change my last name given my relationship or lack thereof with my parents. The answer to that is that I wanted to live a life as if I had been born female. To that end, it didn't make sense for me to change my last name because that is the name that I would have gotten when I was born if I was assigned female at birth, which would have been the correct assignment. Not that I'm bitter about it. My mother made an incredibly elaborate stocking for me when I was just born. I think she made this within like the first 4 or 5 years of my birth. I'm folding it over because it has my dead name embroidered on it and I don't want to deal with that. But it's really elaborate. Like she clearly made it from some sort of pattern, but there's like sequins and stuff sewed on and stuff. It's actually really quite pretty. It's covered in cat hair. It's been through some stuff. It's a little threadbare and stripped, and the inside's what you'd expect from a homemade stocking. I've been holding on to this as some sort of proof to me that at some point in my life my mother loved me, and that would mean that she was theoretically capable of loving me again at some point. The main reason I wanted to go through this box is now that I have been so harshly rejected by my mother after she discovered that I am transitioning, and after all the abuse that I've suffered at her hand, it really just seemed time to let go of the idea that my parents will ever truly accept and love me. Keeping this as like a token of proof that they loved me at some point is not even reasonable. When they made this for me, I didn't even really have a personality yet. It just kind of emphasizes the fact that my parents loved the idea of having a child, but not the actual child that they got. And they told me that in so many words. The thing is about having kids that you do not get to choose what you get. Even when you adopt, you don't really know what you're getting. And you're supposed to love your child unconditionally. And my mother does not. In fact, my mother's love for me is incredibly conditional, and I'm never going to meet those criteria. The very nature of what I am is the antithesis of someone she could love, so fine. And that's everything in the box. Took me 5 years and over an hour. This is gonna be fun to edit. But I finally got through it all. I lived with that family in that house, not that specific house, but together in a house for 24 years. It's a lot wrapped up in this. There's a lot of memories here. A lot of them are not great. But the thing that people don't understand about children who are abused by their family is that it wasn't usually constant abuse. It wasn't like every second of every day was torture. It was a lot of good moments with some also really bad ones, you know? But the important thing is that it doesn't have to equal out or anything. If you were abused, that's abuse. It doesn't matter how much they loved you or supported you in any other way in your life. You don't deserve to be abused. And I don't deserve to carry this baggage with me through the rest of my life. Like, what's the plan? I move away and bring all this stuff with me and keep it in my, basement for the next 20 years? Why? It's finally time for me to let go of all these things and be my own person. My family of origin rejected me so many times and in so many ways, and I'm no longer going to pine for their love. I'm not going to want their attention, want their approval. And that goes against basic instincts. Like, we are designed to love our parents. One would think that our parents are designed to love us. Sometimes that doesn't work out. I'm proud of the person I am. I'm proud of the things I overcame. And I don't need this in my life, so it won't be. I think I just created the most depressing Vlogmas ever. I'm going to take this out to the dumpster now and be done with it forever.
Sure you're okay with this right now?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that was hard. We have just returned from the dumpster. Very picturesque description, I'm sure. Had a bit of a cry. It's a big weight being lifted off of me, you know? Been literally physically carrying that stuff with me for a long time.
Yeah, no.
Not to mention emotionally. And I feel like now I can actually start healing, you know?
Yeah. I love you.
I love you. You know, I feel like sometimes I make it sound easy to cut out my family from my life, and in many ways it's an easy decision, but it's hard. But it's literally not worth putting up with the abuse. Doesn't make it easier. But I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I can finally start to move on. Or I guess continue moving on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that I need to get my sister's stuff back to her. I guess I'll figure that out at some later time. It's kind of hard when we're like not in contact, you know?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make it easy.
No. But it is Vlogmas, and the birth of Jesus is approaching, whether we can emotionally handle it or not. So, if we're along for this ride anyway, we may as well have chocolate.
You got mine.
I've got 21. That's close enough, right?
There's way too few left on here now.
I'm sorry, darling. We're almost halfway.
It is halfway.
12 and a half. I count 13 as halfway.
Well, because it's 24. So we're halfway through.
That makes sense.
We're
We're through the... Yeah, that makes sense.
I have an angel on mine.
I have a
Big
cupcake.
I got a cupcake yesterday, the day before.
That or a poop emoji on top of some sort of
I think it's a cupcake.
griddle. I've got 2 videos to edit tonight because my transition update video goes out tomorrow as well.
We're never gonna sleep.
Sleep is for the weak, and we're so strong.
Hi, I'm weak.
Yeah, well, too bad. Honestly, this whole thing has made my editing a lot faster, and I've found some techniques that help me really focus in on doing it and everything. That helps.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so if nothing else, my editing speed has improved. Thanks,
be
Vlogmas!
useful. It is useful.
I'm trading sleep for skills. I mean, that's basically what school is.
Right. The way you did school. Freaking
You will never let that go.
Nope, never.
Obviously, it's a pretty emotional night. I'm gonna end it early so that we can get ready for bed and edit and all those fun things and get videos out by tomorrow. So that is all for Vlogmas Day 12. We'll be back tomorrow on Day 13. Actually, I'll be back twice because I'm doing a transition update video that's totally separate from Vlogmas.
You're gonna be so tired.
I know. What is sleep? I've never experienced that. I don't remember experiencing sleep ever in my life.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
Poor
Sorry,
thing.
I didn't quite
Probably
catch
Sherry
that.
does.
Could you please repeat it?
No!
Okay.
Good night, y'all.